If the travelers have two major problems, one of which is Noelle, what's the second one that Coil can help them with?
They're not the Undersiders, so we know a bitch ain't one.
Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read Snare 13.8. Boy, are they ever ensnared.
This is a rough one.
Yes.
This is a rough one.
It's real bad.
How are you feeling?
This is a low point. Clearly, we're not going to stay at this low point. So I'm feeling optimistic about something changing, because I don't think all of the Undersiders plus Trickster, more or less, I guess Regent and Bitch aren't there. Most of the Undersiders plus Trickster are probably not going to be transformed into Bonesaw monsters. That would be a really weird rest of the book. So I don't think they're as doomed as one might guess.
Got it. Yeah, so your faith in like the narrative and some degree of plot armor is going to get you through this.
Yes.
What about the content, the sort of Bonesaw body horror that we get in this chapter?
It was pretty horrible. That kind of body horror isn't the kind of thing that like gets to me on a visceral level, but
okay, good to know.
I'm pretty worried about Grue. I had the realization while reading this chapter that I've had a couple of conjectures as to why he made up with Taylor so quickly. And reading this chapter, I was like, oh man, what if it's because he's going to die? Oh. So I now believe that it is narratively plausible that Grue will die, which is not great. I like him a lot as a character. He's also incredibly useful to the Undersiders, so gonna be a real problem. Yeah, I don't want that to happen, but I have much more faith in Taylor, Tattletale, Imp, Trickster, was anyone else there? Sundancer, getting out from Bonesaw's clutches than I do in Grue being able to be rescued from what Bonesaw and Mannequin already did to him.
Yeah. I will say this moment with what happened to Grue is one of the worst things in the story.
Yeah.
There are probably, like, things are going to hit people differently.
Yeah.
But this is definitely one of those, like, in recommending Worm to someone.
You're like, can they handle Grue in the freezer?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, man, he, like, got fridged. Ooh.
We'll talk about it. It's a good observation. We'll talk about it. Anyway, we've been dancing around the summary a lot. I think I should summarize.
Go for it, please.
And then we can get into the discussion.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you're holding it together.
Much like the fake body parts holding Grue together. You're welcome.
Yeah. I'll flag in the summary when I'm about to describe what it is, if you want to skip over it. So now it's time for Trickster's plan. Taylor is expressing some discomfort with a plan not of her own design that is inherently much more unpredictable, more reckless than controlled. She and Trickster are chatting about that as the Unravelers head back toward Dolltown. It's basically, as soon as they've been able to get into gear, they're taking 3 trucks to the Nine's last known location. Tattletale is coming with them in person. Her power's just better when she can get information herself.
Yeah.
It's not transferred over camera. Taylor's in a car with Tattletale, Trickster, and Sundancer, and they're quiet and tense, and Taylor observes them all with kind of like how they are getting through this uncomfortable moment in the van as they're heading out on the mission. She thinks that she's just going over all of the possible tools at their disposal, all the different ways things could go wrong. She's feeling exhausted, fatigued. We learn, indeed, she did not get much sleep last night. Mm-hmm. She's worried, of course, for Brian's life and his quality of life. She, of course, is a little bit more worried about Coil after what Cherish said about him. She's thinking of how reliable are the travelers. Obviously, Noelle is one of their problems, but Trickster had alluded to something else. Basically, what's their deal? She starts to kind of go off and be like, yeah, I have all these techniques that I use. Should I name them? Like, it's someone in a shonen anime. And then she's like, no. Clearly this is because I'm exhausted. This sort of relentless pace of everything since the Nine had kind of announced themselves. The middle of last arc has just really been grinding her down. They get to their destination, get out of the cars. Bitch has 3 dogs. Regent and Ballistic are also there. Regent has brought Shatterbird. He has his hands full controlling her because her power is not physical, so he gets no benefit from the body's like muscle memory, like learned responses. So he's basically learning how to use her power on the fly, no pun intended.
Wait, that's Taylor's power.
Shatterbird is apparently really strongly resisting him, but he thinks he'll have it under control as long as he stays close to her. Genesis is also there, materializing into some kind of massive form. They're near where the Nine are hiding out in Dolltown. Tattletale has eyes on the building, but they just kind of need to wait for all the pieces to come together. Taylor is able to observe easily that there are like 30 or more people that she can sense without kind of scouting that are in the area. They're civilians, non-combatants. She wants to warn them away from the building where the Nine are, but, you know, she's not using her power in that building because she doesn't want to tip them off that she's nearby. And everybody else is like, Skitter, no. These people are not worth the risk. This is our only chance to save Grue. We can't take any extra risks. Taylor's like, when all this goes down, these people are basically guaranteed to die. She thinks this isn't like that thing with Sundancer from the last plan. Those people had already been goners. This is something else. The Trickster's like, okay, we'll do whatever, but, you know, it's on your head, however it goes. And Taylor's feeling very frustrated that nobody is seeing it her way. And Tattletale's like, okay, well, waiting's over. We gotta decide because Purity's here. What they have done is had Coil tip off Hookwolf and Co. about the location of the Nine and successfully baited them out into an attack. So we see Purity and Crusader, we see Rune, later we see Neuter, so it's at least those 3 groups of villains all working together, basically going to do an all-out attack on the Nine. Genesis has adopted a form that looks crawler-ish with a Bonesaw-ish and Jack-ish growth on her back to kind of, and along with Shatterbird, they will run around. And basically the game is get Hookwolf and Purity and Co. close enough to the Nine that the Nine feel threatened, either into retreating or attacking, but not so close that Purity just levels the entire building because they are obviously worried about Grue. They also have noticed Taylor's been able to suss out the exact room that the Nine are in. Crawler is with a room with a bunch of hostages. She can't find Grue, right? All she needs to do is get a bug on him to be able to feel his sort of like power effect, but she can't find him. And so they don't want that building to be directly attacked. They just want to create enough pressure on the Nine that they have to do something. Taylor decides, without anyone else on her team backing her up, that she's going to warn the other people away. Of course, she does not warn people who are directly in a room with the Nine. The Nine aren't moving, and Tattletale's like, it has something to do with the hostages, but I'm not really sure. So they have Regent use Shatterbird to try and lure Purity closer and closer. Finally, the Nine decide to act. Crawler leads the charge. The rest of the Nine go out, and among them are dozens of hostages, all of whom have been modified by Bonesaw to look, fairly superficially like members of the Nine. So the Nine are advancing into a crowd of hastily made doppelgangers of Siberian and Bonesaw and Jack and Burnscar and Mannequin. That immediately makes it so much harder for them to keep track of where the actual Nine are. But at least everybody except Bonesaw have left the building that Grue is in. Taylor has located a group of hostages inside the building. The Nine were not nearby, and Trickster is able to use his power to swap himself, Tattletale, Skitter, Sundancer, and Ballistic inside. So now the Nine are out attacking Hookwolf's group. They're in this building. It's pretty gross in there, though they see signs of kind of like, Dolltown residents had put up like a chore chart. They were preparing food. They had a cache of supplies. Trickster decides not to bring Bitch and the dogs with them for sort of like they wouldn't be stealthy enough reasons. And Taylor's getting more and more worried that she can't find Grue. She's narrowed her options down to a few compartments that are small enough that if he's in there, he's dead, and a walk-in freezer. She goes into the freezer, sees Brian in there, sees that he's alive, and is horrified at that realization. Skip ahead if you don't want to hear how bad this gets. Brian is attached to the wall, kind of like arms splayed out, head bowed up in like a corner, like his head is pushing against the ceiling. And Bonesaw and Mannequin have worked together to kind of fillet the skin from his limbs off and attach it to the wall. And his rib cage has been opened. Each of his organs left kind of hanging in place on a metal frame or kind of like spooled out from his body onto like a shelf in the freezer. And ceramic casings are set up to kind of pump him full of fluids. And his head has not been touched. He is looking at them, but he looks, like an animal. He looks harrowed. He's sweating and shivering. Taylor takes a step towards him, and he flinches in pain. And Tattletale pulls her back and tells her to look closer. The room is covered with what looks like hairline cracks, spider webs of artificially created nerve endings. So the floor and the walls of the freezer are attached to Brian so that nobody can approach him without causing him, immense pain from stepping on his nerves. We're done with the description for now. They consider killing Brian. Ballistic says he can make it quick. Taylor reaches for, okay, Panacea can fix him. Tattletale's like, she's not going to be anywhere near here. Okay, Bonesaw can fix him. And Tattletale's like, but she won't. And Taylor's like, at least we can try. Nobody will meet her eyes except Tattletale, who says, every second you make him go on like this is cruel. Taylor says she's not negotiating. Tattletale cedes to her, and they leave Brian in the freezer and go to find Bonesaw. Taylor's observing, the 9 are out killing people in the streets. Jack's having a great time. She's feeling cold and numb and angry the way that, she remembers Brian describing how he felt at his trigger event. And they finally find the room that Bonesaw's in. Taylor goes on the attack immediately, but oops, it's a decoy Bonesaw. And as Taylor tries to orient herself, her teammates start falling down, and Bonesaw unzips herself out of a corpse on the floor and has a little blow dart and is like, Skitter, why aren't you going down? I knocked out all of your friends with my little blowgun darts. She's like, oh, wait, is your costume spider silk? That's awesome. Taylor's like, well, what's happening to them? And they've all been paralyzed. There's a little something extra in there as well. Taylor starts to threaten her, say, okay, you're going to fix them and you're going to fix Brian. Bonesaw's like, oh, is that his name? Well, I was trying to figure out where his power comes from, but he wasn't cooperating. But I'm not going to fix him because I don't censor my art because it offends people, she says. And Taylor says that she's going to convince her, tries to attack, and while she dodges Bonesaw's first attack, she's eventually overwhelmed by mechanical spiders, and Bonesaw kind of blows some dust into her face, paralyzing her and giving her this headache that basically means she starts to lose the ability to control her bugs. Like, as her headache gets worse, her power seems to be either diminishing or getting less controllable. It's a little bit unclear. The spiders then start dragging Skitter, Tattletale, Trickster, Sundancer, and Ballistic back towards the freezer. Taylor's thinking, no. Bonesaw is humming. And Taylor gets stacked up in a pile of bodies and finds herself lying on top of a figure with a demon mask. It is Imp. Imp has also been captured, and Bonesaw gets down in Skitter's face and says, this is going to be fun.
Hopefully not for Bonesaw. Yeah, so I think the imp thing was supposed to be like a real blow, but I had completely forgotten about imp, of course. So I was just like, oh, okay. All right, so obviously we're not just going to have them all turned into walk-in freezer Christ figures. So there are a bunch of possibilities on who could intervene. I made a list.
Oh.
So Panacea is the best person to undo what happened to Grue. Taylor did mention her, and Tattletale was like, yeah, no, but she's not going to be anywhere nearby. We don't know where she is. She's not going to come near here because of the thing with Mannequin. There's no hope. So the fact that that was sort of called out and shot down makes it seem less likely, but I do still think that there's a possibility that it was called out and made to seem hopeless so that it's more of a surprise when she shows up. But I still feel like if she was about to show up, Taylor just wouldn't have mentioned her. Like, she wouldn't have come up.
Fair. I think that's a good instinct, narratively.
Yeah.
I would also be curious, again, I'm not going to tell you what's going to happen, but I'd be curious what it would take for Amy to run into a building that she knows has Bonesaw in it.
Ooh. There's just, like, nothing to force her to do it. Like,
yeah.
You would need, like, a big narrative thing, and she'd have to have a change of heart or
I feel
change
like
of
if
mind.
Ballistic launched her point blank, like, into the freezer.
You know, I don't know if he can launch people.
That's true.
Effect?
That's true. Well, people's clothes.
Maybe he can, exactly.
Because he yeeted Glory Girl to great effect in that one scene.
That's right. He can launch people. That's great. Okay. I mean, maybe Glory Girl more than most because she must have like an extra durable suit, and maybe it was her clothing. Who knows?
Yeah. And that's why because he doesn't feel bad about it.
Oh, of course, of course. So, obviously, we have Purity and Co., Hookwolf and Co. on the scene. So it could just be an immediate, like, they get interrupted. That's a pretty easy resolution. Not as interesting as some of the other options. Armsmaster could show up.
True.
He's running loose.
True.
He wants to be a hero.
Right. Taylor was worried about her nemesis showing up.
Yes, and I think that would be deliciously ironic if he shows up and kind of does what he tried to do against Leviathan, but it works against Bonesaw.
Yeah.
That would be really satisfying.
Yeah.
Even better if he has Dragon with him. Or Dragon could show up on her own. That one's a little more questionable because not a Brockton Bay hero, so could be a problem, or not a Brockton Bay cape, rather. But not even a cape, so if they find out that, I mean, no one's going to care about the technicality. But I do think Dragon is paying attention to what is happening, so she could intervene, even if it, like, potentially results in the city getting destroyed, but, like, if you take down the 9, the city doesn't get destroyed. So this might be worth it. Intervening might be worth it. The heroes are also not on the scene, and we know that Flechette has this close connection to Parian.
Yes.
So the Protectorate just said no, and I think Weld was there, but it's possible that the wards, or just Flechette, or the heroes led by Flechette, like, it's possible some subset of the Protectorate world could come and help.
And I didn't mention, but Taylor thought she detected one of Parian's creations inside the facility.
We didn't see anyone who seemed like Parian. Right. If the heroes do show up, especially if Flechette shows up with her connection to Parian, the fact that Taylor did all that work to evacuate the civilians around the buildings who were probably Parian's people, and I mean, it was very recognizable that it was her doing it, that's really going to get her some cred and, like, help her with the whole, but who are you, Skidder, problem.
But that's also a really interesting kind of, like, plot mechanics idea of, like, somebody in those civilians, like, tips off Parian who calls Flechette. You know, like, there's a little bit in that kind of...
I mean, presumably Parian knew already. Like, I think she's keeping better guard than that.
Right, but not that the 9 are in Dolltown, but that, like, because it's sort of like, who but the Coalition knows that the Coalition are doing this right now.
Right,
that's part of the problem. It's nobody knows. I guess they can assume because they just went to Miss Militia and said, like, we need to go rescue Grue.
Right. But no, actually, that's a good point. It's like they're off the grid and no one knew they were there in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, their parents think they're sleeping over at a friend's house.
Yeah.
The friend's parents think they're sleeping over at the other friend's house, so now they can get kidnapped by an actual kid.
Oh, boy.
Maybe. I'm still not sure that Bonesaw is actually a child. Seems implausible.
Well, is that the end of your list?
That is the end of my list.
How do you feel about those various Deus Ex Machina?
I am most excited about Armsmaster showing up.
Okay.
I think that will be really fun, and we kind of need to involve him in the story.
Okay.
Panacea would be better because of Grue, but maybe Armsmaster got Panacea and they're there together.
Yeah.
I can have wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's better than just, like, Empire 88 remnants storm the building. They're not competent enough to take down Bonesaw. We do know that Neuter and co. are with them. Faultline's crew. I think I remember noticing Neuter specifically mentioned. But they are more competent, but also, like, not super motivated. Like, why would they help the Unravelers when they're not getting paid specifically to help the Unravelers? So... Maybe they'd take out Bonesaw if they could, but...
Bitch and Regent are on the scene, but not trapped. So they are also kind of a vector for, like, talking to people and being like, hey, our team hasn't come back yet.
True, yeah. Bitch and Regent could definitely be helpful in some way.
Yeah,
I forgot that, of course, they could come in and do something.
But yeah, I guess more I was asking, like, how do you feel about, okay, so their plan is a total disaster. They've all gotten captured. They're about to be killed or worse than killed. And then having Armsmaster, whoever, sail in.
I mean, they were due, right? They had such a successful plan. Now they need to fall on their faces.
Yeah.
We knew this one wasn't going to go very well because the whole thing they had going for them last time was that it was the element of surprise. The Nine didn't see them coming. They'd put all these different pieces in place. They had control over the terrain, the battlefield, all of this stuff. And now they know they have none of that. So, of course, they're doing badly.
Yeah.
The Nine are just too good, too adaptable. The whole thing with the plastic surgery, oh my god. Okay, before we talk more about Bonesaw and how she's really such a menace and needs to die, if Faultline's crew is there, Faultline cannot split people. There's a lot of parts of the Nine that are not organic material.
Oh.
All those sheaths. Those sheaths are a protection, but in the hands of a striker who can split inorganic material or like non-living material, they could be a liability.
Honestly, Faultline, I think, beats Mannequin 10 out of 10 times.
Oh my god, you're so right. Wow. I was so annoyed that Mannequin was still alive. I was really hoping he got taken out. But Faultline taking him out would be so good.
Yes.
Oh, and he's so due. Like, he's hanging by a thread narratively.
Yes.
Like, come on.
I'm mad that he survived, and I'm just mad that they haven't punished him. That was in the rules.
I know. It's like they're not good at following rules.
All right, so... just pushing on more of this stuff, right? So you're not expecting them all to die, which is like, yes, this would be a lot of eggs
That'd
to crush.
That'd be so weird, yeah.
Right. Like, a way worse for the story we've built up so far than, like, the Leviathan thing, right? Like, Leviathan was big scale, but you're not expecting Taylor and most of the Undersiders.
I think after you have a Leviathan scale thing, you can't have another one, like, and take out so many characters. Like, it would have to be, I mean, it would be different.
So you feel like the group has plot armor, but we haven't talked about Grue. You mentioned his death flags. It is notable that we have the homage to the women in refrigerators with sort of the romantic interest of our protagonist.
He's also in a Christ pose.
Yeah.
He's like about to sacrifice himself, though, notably, Christ did come back. So that's promising.
Yes. Yeah. So we can talk about the fridging aspect, we can talk about the Christ metaphor more, but like, so trope-wise, right, there's a gender swap, but there's also the he's not dead, right?
No,
the like, girlfriend in the refrigerator thing is like, oh, the evil villain has, like, tortured and, like, maimed, you know, done terrible things to this woman until they died. Right.
You show up, maybe she dies in your arms or something.
And
you
so
just find her body. Yeah.
The revelation here of, like, oh, it's Grue, and he's alive. And that's bad. And then the detailed description of why.
Yeah.
And then we leave him in that state. Like, that tension is completely unresolved for the moment. So what are you thinking happens story-wise from here?
A little bit of a side note. I kept thinking in this chapter of our thing, like, how many more Dinahs are you going to create to rescue Dinah?
Yeah.
And this is very much how many more Grues are you going to create to rescue Grue?
Yeah.
Now it's all of them, basically, except for Regent and Bitch. Is Ballistic with them at the moment also?
Yes.
Oh, I forgot he was there. Man, okay, so it's like half of the Travelers as well. Yeah, I'm holding out hope for Grue's survival, but it really feels like it could go either way.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like when Lisa was cut down and you're like, well, she's not going to die off screen and like she's really just probably not going to die at all there. This feels like a price they might need to pay for taking out the 9. And that, again, is sort of the Christ thing. It's the sacrifice. It's what you called the episode. If he is a sacrifice, then he's going to die. Like, that's what sacrifices do.
But he's not dead yet. How's he going to die?
But he's not dead yet. Don't make me predict how he's going to die. That makes me think he's going to die. I mean, they would have to kill him, right? Like...
And that's
it would have to be
the follow-on from the moment in this chapter of
it would have to be an undersider who kills him.
Yeah.
And I think it would have to be... Well, no, I think it would have to be anyone except Imp. Like, you can't have Imp do it. Like, that's too brutal. Now that I'm saying that, I'm like, this narrative could do anything. It could have Imp do it. But, like, I don't think that 13-year-old Aisha is going to have to kill her older brother. Like, that... Yeah. No. I could see Taylor doing it. I mean, I think it would take a lot for Taylor to do it. She is the most resistant to it, but it would be a really powerful character beat if she were pushed to that point. Lisa, I could see doing it, but because Taylor was so opposed, I don't think Lisa is going to do it, again, without something major shifting.
Yeah.
Regent is just really busy right now.
As he keeps insisting in the
chapter. Yes, that was very
Don't
funny.
Talk to me. This is hard.
Like, that doesn't really quite make sense. I don't think it would be Bitch, even though I think if the group were to call on her to do that, like, she probably would, but it would be so cruel of them to do that when she is not able to connect to all of the nuance that everyone else is feeling about it.
Yeah.
And when she's already struggling with what she tried to do to Taylor. I think Taylor taking out Brian, in a mercy-killing context, but, like, actually killing him, which is so much worse than what Bitch tried to do to Taylor, would help Bitch feel more at home in the group. Right? Well, because, like, Taylor, the person that she did it to, did something even worse, although for a better reason, but still did that to a group member. They would have that in common a little bit. Like, this thing that is this obstacle to Bitch feeling like she can have this relationship with Taylor again would become almost a point of connection.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's Bitch. The most likely person is Taylor. I mean, she's our protagonist. Like, I think that if we're going to see anyone do it, that would make sense. But I can imagine scenarios in which Taylor and Lisa maybe even make that decision together and Lisa does it. Yeah. It would be, I think if Lisa does it and Taylor hasn't specifically signed on, it will be really devastating for the group. I mean, losing Grue would be devastating to the group anyway. But
it would certainly be an interesting, like, secret tension if it didn't come out right away. Yeah. But there's also, like, how would we find out about it until, like, an interlude or,
We haven't even had a Brian interlude. Are we never going to get Brian interlude? Okay, that's the first thing I've thought of that's, like, given me real hope. Like, we can't never get a Brian interlude. That would be horrifying. Oh my gosh. Is it too late to start a letter writing campaign to Wild Bow?
I've been very careful not to say anything about whether we get all the Undersiders interludes.
No!
But, for fairness, what's his out? Taylor has 2 ideas. Panacea, Bonesaw.
Right, so it has to be something different, right?
Well, I'm just saying...
Yeah.
Bonesaw has said she will not do it because she has integrity as an artist.
Bonesaw is such a piece of shit. I say, as someone who doesn't even really swear that much.
She would not like that. She is against swearing.
Good. Well, take that, Bonesaw. She is so morally bankrupt. And the idea of her taking this one principle, divorced from the rest of humanity's, like, emotional and moral wealth, and trying to make that the thing that she stands on is so hollow and despicable. Yeah. It was infuriating.
Yeah. She's a real monster.
She is such a monster and such a problem.
Yeah.
She can do, like, anything so fast.
Yeah.
It's been, like, a few hours, and she managed to turn Grue into this horrible, monstrous version of himself.
Point of order, she did work with Mannequin.
She worked with Mannequin, yes. But she also, like, grew all his nerves.
No, but I think it's sort of like Mannequin... I feel like without Mannequin's help, Bonesaw would really struggle to keep Grue alive in this state.
Yes.
Like, so it's like she's not
true.
Quite that powerful.
But also, she did that while doing plastic surgery on, like, dozens of people?
Yeah.
That's so much so fast.
Yeah.
And we've seen her do just absolutely ludicrously powerful things to people's bodies. I mean, she was right when she said to Panacea, like, the two of us together could do anything.
Yeah.
So, okay. If it's not Bonesaw, and it's not Panacea because she was already suggested, which makes it less likely that that's going to happen, I think Dragon could do it.
Interesting. Because we've had Chekhov's cyborg body parts.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
And
what a bromance arc for Armsmaster and Grue.
oh my gosh, yes.
Cyborg besties.
Cyborg siblings.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anyone else we know of who could do that. We've talked about Scion, and I don't think we have seen him heal anyone, so I don't think there's reason to think he can do that, though he can kind of do everything, so sure. Wait, didn't he take away cancer from someone on that initial boat?
I think so.
Okay, so Scion shows up. I don't expect that because he already rescued them all from Leviathan, and this feels like a problem they need to deal with themselves.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's ever faced off against the Nine.
It hasn't come up.
It hasn't come up, and that's kind of weird, because if he's, like, always going around the world helping people, like, the Nine cause a lot of problems for people.
It's true.
Why does he not oppose supervillains? I guess we've never heard about that.
We've heard mention of him going after, like, crime, but...
Okay, well, this is crime.
Right.
Yeah, he should be doing something about this. Get Scion to have better priorities. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, all of your complaints lodged in Arc 8 have not been addressed.
Yeah,
We've just
get him a pager.
We've been
doing other stuff. It's the problem with the world. They're dealing with other stuff and not getting Scion a pager.
Scion, Endbringers, nope. Now we have a new problem.
It's just too many problems at once. Get him a pager and have him take out the Slaughterhouse 9.
I know.
Anyway, I'm not sure I have any other options for who could heal Grue, aside from those 4, which, that's not bad. That's 2 options that were mentioned in the narrative. I think Dragon is much more likely than Scion.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's a little synergy there on both halves of that prediction, right? You could have the Colin Dragon 1-2 combo. It's a pretty good, as far as saviors are concerned. Pretty good.
You know what's wild about this entire scenario? This is the one that Coil chose to keep.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should point that out. Right, we don't have any reason to suspect that this isn't the better timeline, which is
This
wild.
must be the better timeline, but if I'm Coil, first of all, I would make a lot of different decisions. But if I'm Coil, I don't send them to fight the Nine at the same time in both scenarios.
Right.
I build in a delay.
Right.
Or I don't act in one of the scenarios. So if it's just that bad, you can write off Grue. I mean, that's only one of your capes, as opposed to all of them.
Right. But, did Alt Lisa call in, 5 minutes ago and be like, well, everybody else died? And then Coil's like, well, I haven't heard from Lisa in timeline B, but I guess I'll keep it.
But I don't think they're there in both timelines.
No, exactly.
But the fact, this turns out well enough that Coil keeps the timeline. So it might be that Grue dies, but everyone else gets out.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Or we might learn that Coil wasn't helping. He had something
Stephen
else to do.
Moffat wrote this, and everyone lives. We can always hope.
I mean, yeah, so other stuff happened in the chapter. I have a lot more to say about Grue in the freezer, so we could keep going on that. But do you have other thoughts about the chapter?
Let's talk more about Grue in the freezer, because that's really the most salient thing, and then we can remember everything else that happened.
So I just wanted to bring in some fun Wildbow lore, right? You called out this as a literal fridging, and Wildbow is aware of
it's
the
a
trope.
literal freezering.
That's fair.
To be
That's
clear.
fair, and the power isn't on, so it's not cold. But Wildbow posted something on the Inchworm Discord talking about when he was into comics, or not, and kind of saying oh, actually, I'm not a huge comics head. I followed it for a couple of years, and then there were a bunch of storylines that went south, around the same time, and I got so frustrated. But part of that frustration is what led him to think sort of oh, well, I can do it better, and, led to sort of some of the impetus for Worm. And one of the things he called out is there was a very prominent, I guess, spoilers for DC Universe, you can skip ahead, but very prominent killing of a character, ironically named Spoiler, in the 2004 run of Batman. And that was only like 4 or 5 years after the original Women in Refrigerators blog post. So it was very like zeitgeisty in comics of the time. So it is awesome to me that in thinking about whatever led to this scene, the very intentional choice to
yeah, he could have used the little sauna
to make it tropey and like subvert it.
Yeah,
and obviously it remains to be seen sort of
right. But even
where he's going
if
with
it's
it,
just Taylor's male love interest, that's like subverting it. I mean, not that that's never done,
right?
But that is the classic.
The trope, of course, is like these women are supporting characters in the male lead stories, and so having their bodies destroyed, their narratives cut short, all of that stuff to further the character arc of the dude in the lead is something that the person who named the trope was criticizing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, we'll see.
What would this do to Taylor if he died? If she has to kill him like this, she'll feel like she's a real supervillain, which she's kind of been questioning. And ironically, I think that this is a chapter in which she is very much not a real supervillain.
Oh, yeah? Interesting.
Like, she specifically thinks about the thing we talked about last time, or 2 times ago, where she lies to Sundancer, and she's like, yeah, but those people were already dead.
Yeah.
Those bystanders, which, yes, that's what we said. And these people could live. And she actually has, like, an extended thing about, like, no, these are real people.
Uh-huh.
And the rest of the Unravelers are like, yeah, Grue is also a real person, and so are we, and we have to look out for ourselves first. And the Slaughterhouse 9, if we don't get them, are going to kill so many more real people, which are all valid points that you could debate. And Taylor manages to find a way to save all those people, not all the people, but like save many people without compromising their goals. And that's such a hero thing. I mean, maybe you can argue that.
No, I don't think we know.
I guess we don't know.
Like with Taylor running to save Danny, like with Grue swapping early for Shatterbird in the previous fight, I feel like if Bonesaw was more ready for them because they noticed that Skitter was in the area because of Taylor, warning those people, we don't know either way, right? You could make the argument like, no, Taylor could have been a lot more obvious and it wouldn't have gone any better or worse. Or you could make the argument that, well, of course it didn't matter. Like, it's so clear, right, that this was a victory and, like, all these people got out and it didn't affect their chances and it didn't hurt Grue, right? But I feel like we're left with some ambiguity.
That's true, yeah. I mean, if it hurt their cause, like, that's kind of more heroic of her to prioritize these civilians. Like, maybe not a good choice, but a heroic choice.
Interesting.
I mean, it really did seem low risk after she executed it, but to me, what stood out, well, a couple of things, right? She thinks, like, well, I had Sundancer kill bystanders, but this was something else. Mm-hmm. And, like, obviously, there are different degrees here, but it is kind of the same thing. And
well, no, there's still hope for these people. The other people were actively being butchered by Bonesaw, and, like, probably, like, they couldn't medically have been saved, presumably. Though I guess you could say you could probably save them the way she wants to save Grue.
Yeah, but she was also, like, seeing Jack cutting down people.
But she didn't have a way to stop that.
What do you mean? Like, if she engaged the 9 immediately, destroying their hopes of, like, the plan to take out Cherish and Shatterbird, couldn't she have saved a few lives?
But, like, that didn't feel like a real possibility to me.
Yeah.
And, like, rescuing these people, like, she does see a real possibility. Like, they're still alive and not mutilated.
Okay, so when Trickster says, well, it's 30 people for the sake of hundreds, it balances out. And Taylor says, I can't agree with that. It's not that Skitter can't agree with utilitarianism. It's just that she thinks that Trickster is reading the situation wrong. Like, basically, everybody else is being too risk-averse.
I mean, I think it is just like, where do you draw the lines?
Yeah.
And we've had a bunch of discussions of that. The hero's drawing them differently from Taylor, and Taylor's now drawing them differently from her fellow Unravelers.
The thing that it most reminded me of, though, is when she decides, I'm going to help the people run, she thinks, like, the lack of response was
as damning as anything else. And it really reminds me of how indignant and how angry she got after the Dinah revelation, when like the Undersiders weren't immediately like, hey, we have to save her, and like, of course you're right about everything.
And they're like, we're trying to take on the 9. Stop worrying about these random people.
Right, but she's back in that mental space, right? She is sort of powerless or feeling fairly powerless in the face of like someone who got taken captive as a direct result of what she did, right? And she is now, I mean, compared to the previous plan where she's like, yeah, we're flipping the board, we're going to take them out, this is awesome, you know, I have the plan. To me, I feel like she is actually willing to play ball with the utilitarian ethos a bit when she's like in control of the plan. And now that she is
that's interesting.
Feeling so guilty about what has happened with Grue, she's back in this emotional space where she's like, because Grue is in trouble now, she's like, but I have to save everyone. Like, I have to be better. I have to do more. Why won't you see it my way?
Yeah, she's in her I need to be better state. That's really interesting observation. I also do wonder if there's just an element of like, she needs to be in control of something.
Yeah. We do get that with Trickster a bit early in the chapter, right? So the thing that I thought was so interesting is when they're talking about like, do we save the people or not? Trickster doesn't actually say don't do it. What he says is, yeah, make your call. If you think you can do it, go ahead. But you don't have anyone's support, and it's on you if you fail, right? Like, his philosophy is like, sure, we can disagree, but like, just understand that it's on you, you know, if it goes bad. And I kind of feel like Taylor, like, unlike that, she insists that everybody else see it her way in addition to letting her have it her way, right? Like, it really matters to her that they all like agree with her. And Trickster's like, I don't know, man. Like, sure, I think it's a bad idea, but like, you know, it's on you if you fail.
Know, that actually connects interestingly to her thoughts about the Travelers and her discomfort with them. She's like, there's not a lot of like, we don't have the same camaraderie with them. I'm not sure what it is that's tying them together. It seems to be this like these problems they have, and she's heard, you know, various of them talk about being lonely, and she kind of doesn't, it's unclear to me if she doesn't trust them because of the lack of connection between the two groups or because of the lack of connection she sees within the Travelers. And I mean, I feel like we've seen a lot of connection inside the Travelers, like, you know, the vow that they took or whatever, but maybe it's kind of, you know, seems like something that's wearing thin. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering, right, in this moment, Taylor looks to Sundancer and Sundancer looks away, right? Sundancer does not speak up in favor of these people. And part of me is wondering if the dynamic there is like Trickster's already making this argument.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like maybe she's just feeling guilty for some reason, but like maybe sort of she's been in this position before and kind of like Trickster always gets his way. Like if he's the one who's, you know, making these calls, right? She doesn't want to.
I don't see any reason to think that's the case, especially since Trickster isn't making the call. He's just saying you can make the call.
Right.
I do wonder if there's some element of like she is feeling the burn, so to speak, of what she had to do earlier today and like isn't willing to grapple with that guilt for someone else. And also maybe if it's something that feels more important to her when it's about something she's going to actively do versus something someone else is maybe not going to do that would cause the damage.
That's interesting. Part of her coping mechanism is personal purity, right? She doesn't want to kill people with her son, but when it comes to all of the other fucked up stuff around her, she doesn't yet feel, you know, that she has to do something about it.
I don't know that that's exactly what we've seen. Given
we had her moment
behavior
with
towards
Dinah. Right.
Yeah, so I don't think that's quite right, but I do think it would be different if she were about to lower her son on these people versus like Taylor deciding whether or not to direct.
But Taylor has made her whole life about Dinah, and Sundancer said, "I'm sorry, I can't help you."
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
It's a very telling difference between them.
Yeah. I mean, it also might be like what was going on with Sundancer in that moment. It was a little bit what was going on with Taylor when she told her lie to Sundancer, which is just like, I don't have time for the moral nuances of this. Like, they're about to do this super hard thing.
Yeah.
And also, if Taylor's already arguing for it, like, that's covered.
True. He was also telling that Taylor does not expect Tattletale to go along with her on the let's save the people. Tattletale also plays it very neutral. She doesn't take a side. She just says, if you're going to do something, you got to do it fast.
Yeah. Tattletale does take a side on killing Grue.
Should we jump back to that?
Let's do it.
I mean, she's right?
Well, maybe, but Taylor is choosing hope, and, I can't...
That is interesting. Taylor is choosing hope. Because Taylor doesn't know that she's in a story.
No, yes, exactly.
Right. I was going to ask you, is this the worst thing that Taylor has done in the story so far?
I don't think so. I mean, it's hard because I'm reading a story, and so of course I want there to be hope for Brian, and I don't want them to just euthanize him immediately. But I feel like if I were in Brian's shoes, I would want them to try to save me if there's any chance of it.
Interesting. Is it because of the circumstances, or is it more sort of like you feel like not enough, he hasn't suffered enough, or not enough time has passed, that the fate worse than death is truly a fate worse than death? Because to me, that's what it is that he's in this.
I feel like it is time-based. If they were like, all right, we're going to keep him in this freezer for 5 years, and then we'll have a cure. Like, that might be too cruel. But, like, it doesn't seem like this is a thing where Bonesaw is about to bring him along and march him into every battle. Like, that doesn't seem to be where he is.
No, that's true. It's sort of an installation piece.
Yeah. So it's not like this is our only chance. And there is still, Panacea exists. There are still these hopes. It doesn't seem to me like he can't have been like this for very long at all. Just be like, oh, that seems like it hurts. Kill him immediately. Like, I don't know. That doesn't really resonate with me.
Yeah. To me, that understates how bad it is.
That's fair. Okay. Yeah.
Like the cruelty and horror of what they've done to him, the way Taylor describes him as looking like he looks like an animal, like he like the word harrowed is very apt. Like he's just completely brutalized, falling apart. He can't communicate. There is a moment when he sort of like jerks his head a little bit, but he's not able to like articulate. He can't chime in with a convenient
he can't say,
kill me, which would help, absolve them or something.
I wonder if where this is going is they get out of this fight, but Grue is still in the clutches of the Nine, and now Taylor has to rescue him to kill him because she can't leave him like that with the Nine just in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he becomes sort of the new Dinah.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, that is a whole thing. Especially rereading this, I just find myself on Lisa's side in this moment. Ballistic first offers, like, well, I could make it quick. It'd be a mercy. And Taylor's saying we have options. Panacea, Tattletale's like, no. Taylor says Bonesaw, Tattletale's like, no.
Bonesaw was never a real
Skitter,
option.
We'll try, I told her. At least try. I looked at the others. Sundancer was on the other side of the kitchen, hands on the edge of the sink. Ballistic had his arms folded. Trickster leaned against one counter, silent, not looking at the scene.
I mean, it's kind of none of their
Every second
thing.
you make him go on like this is cruel, she said, her voice hard. So is every second you spend arguing with me. I'm not negotiating here. I'm willing for him to suffer if it means there's a chance we can help him. She met my eyes, looking like she wanted to slap me, yell at me, or both. Fine. Then let's hurry. I gave Brian one last look over my shoulder before I hurried off, leaving him behind.
I mean, it is wrenching that they have to leave.
So what I see here is not Taylor choosing hope. It is Taylor in utter denial about the reality that she is facing, right? Like, I feel like she is here valuing her not having to face this, right? I am willing to let him suffer if it means that there's a chance. Right, like she is putting off the moment where she has to accept that this has happened in order to kind of like keep going and keep trying things. It feels very cruel and very selfish.
I don't agree. I think if we saw her narration saying like, I knew he was suffering too much for, it to be justifiable, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Like, I think that is one lens on it, but I don't think it's the only valid one. I think the idea that like, no, Brian deserves a chance at life, and we don't know that chance is gone yet, which like, I don't think we do know. I'm on her side.
Is that why you think Lisa backs down?
That's an interesting question, because if she really thinks, no, we need to kill Brian now.
I have a pretty cynical read on this, which is just that Lisa's written off Brian, but she can see that picking a fight with Taylor is only going to
it's going to make things worse.
Taylor having a breakdown.
Yeah,
so she's like, well, fine.
Yeah.
She's lost Grue, but like at least she can kind of keep, Skitter on the rails if she lets her have her way.
And if she went ahead and killed Grue, she would be losing Skitter.
Exactly.
As, her friend and ally.
Yeah. And
she has experienced Taylor when she really wants to save someone. And she knows from experience, if not from her power, that that's not an easy fight.
Yeah. What do you make of the scene itself? We've talked about his Christ pose.
It is definitely a statement, specifically from Mannequin. Like, he didn't need to get involved. You said maybe he did.
I was thinking that maybe this is partially targeted at Skitter.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, Brian was the one who was lifting that rock and about to kill Mannequin before Burnscar cheated and got involved. And so I think that he probably also wanted revenge on Grue.
Yeah. I was just kind of thinking about Christ in the context of fridging. Sort of like, it's not like a died for our sins, but a like died to further your story kind of angle on it.
Died for our angst.
The thing where his nerves are everywhere and Taylor like steps on it.
Yeah.
It is so viscerally unsettling to me. Mm-hmm. And the metaphor of like, here is Brian. He's literally completely exposed. Mm-hmm. All of his insides are out there for everyone to see. His darkness isn't working. Like, my interpretation of Bonesaw saying,
opposite of his power.
Everybody, I paralyzed them and gave them a little extra. My read on this is like maybe the little extra is a thing that sort of keeps them from using their powers, which is why like Brian wouldn't be trying to shield himself in darkness.
Although, if they're paralyzed, would they be able to use their powers?
Well, I mean, who knows? Who knows how it works?
Maybe they're not unconscious.
I was wondering, like, why can't Brian, like, he's so vulnerable and exposed, why can't he use darkness?
Himself?
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure that Bonesaw did something, yeah.
Right. He's exposed so everybody can see, and then Taylor cannot physically cross the gulf between them to comfort him. Because of the pain.
By wanting to rescue him, she is literally hurting him.
Right, her closeness to him, her desire to help him, to get close to him, is causing him incredible pain. And, like, she, like, spells that out as well, you know, in her own internal monologue. But it is, I mean, it's...
What an iconic chapter.
Yes. Also, the power of when she steps into the room and croaks out, "Oh, Brian." And then again later refers to him as Brian to Bonesaw.
Yeah.
Right,
he's
like,
not in costume.
No, but it's that like Taylor's so good at this. She's so disciplined about using
But this has completely
names.
thrown her.
But this has completely thrown her. And we had earlier this arc, I think, Brian saying Skitter, right? Like, and now in this moment she's reciprocating, and it's fully just like she sees him as Brian and not as Grue, and wants Brian to Bonesaw wants Brian back, not wants Grue back.
The thing that makes me tip a little bit more towards your no, she should have just mercy killed him, is like thinking about the thing Bonesaw said where she's like, I wanted him to give up the secrets of his power and like help me, but he refused. So, like, the fact that he has, like, withstood and not been broken by all this torture.
I told him I'd make the pain stop forever if he would just show me, but he was so stubborn.
Yeah.
Like, wow, Brian really wanted to spite Bonesaw. Like, it's honestly impressive.
Well, he really wanted to keep Bonesaw from getting the secret of his power and using that against his friends.
Great point. Yeah, even right, he's like, the best thing I can do for them is to let her kill me without giving up the secret.
Yeah. He's holding on for them.
Or you could say he was willing to continue to endure pain for, other goals, and so maybe he's still willing to do that.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out where his power comes from. The darkness comes from inside him, but what's the source? Besides the usual, I mean. What an evocative way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Because, she knows it's his power. It's sort of, is it kind of like a joke? It's sort of like, oh, he must have a new darkness-generating organ, or...
Well, she knows so much more about how powers work.
Yeah,
there must be a, whatever the usual is.
Yeah.
Is like a concrete thing, presumably, and there's something else going on. I mean, I don't really understand it. But...
I did want to dig in a little bit more on Taylor in this chapter, right? It's so interesting. She talks about that numb, dark, angry feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Right? She sees Bonesaw and she's instantly going in for the kill. So satisfying in kind of an awful way of she's like, well, I'm going to convince you. And then she dodges. Bonesaw's the one who gets to use Chekhov's pocket sand by reaching into her blood-spattered sundress. And they go, whew, into her face, but she dodges, and then it's
not Chekhov's pocket sand. We didn't see that pocket sand on the mantelpiece in Act 1.
Well, Taylor had her climbing,
I see
powder.
What you mean. I see what you
Someone's
mean.
going to use it. But then, of course, Skidder just gets tackled by a million mechanical spiders and gets knocked out, right? It's very satisfying in a...
Hero's Last Stand.
Yeah, in a negative way.
Yeah.
And she's so hard on herself, right? As her friends go down, she's like, why couldn't I have finished their costumes? Right? I should have just finished one so I could save one instead of spreading myself too thin, right? I love the symbolism of extending that part of her to keep the people that she's closest to safe. But I was just thinking about how, getting into the freezer and finding Grue is the Dinah situation all over again. She had that Dinah nightmare at the beginning of Arc 11 where she comes into Dinah's room and finds her dead. And she's like, it's too late. It's too late. I can't save her.
Oh.
And this is the same thing, but it's worse because he's not dead, right?
Yeah, maybe that's why she can't let it be too late.
Yeah, and it's even, right, it's even crueler, right? Because the fact that he is alive lets her irrationally cling to this chance that she can save him. And I was kind of thinking, what is that
irrationally
for her? I feel
big claims from Ted.
Well, I feel she ends this chapter with a litany of no, as she's failing, right? She's in denial about how bad things are. But I think that denial fully takes over her when she faces Grue in the freezer. And I think that what she is avoiding is having to fail and grieve the consequences of that failure. It's exactly the same thing kind of with Dinah. The fact that she can't save her, she doubles down on I'm angry, I have to do something. I have to run away in order to not, sit with, oh, I made a choice and this led to a little girl getting kidnapped. This led to my dear, close friend and teammate getting bonesawed and put into a freezer. And that's kind of why I see it as a somewhat selfish choice. It's just because she is incapable of giving in to the possibility that she might have to grieve, face
You're
a
saying
loss.
She doesn't want to Grue the day.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
Oh no! But I mean,
not a gallows humor. Not really appropriate for this chapter.
But I feel like it's come up a lot in her story, right? When Bakada soups that guy, Mannequin killing the doctor, Burnscar burning down Skitterland. She's never really facing these moments head on, right? When Skitterland is burning down, she wants to run back out into the fire, and Brian is the one that pulls her back and is like, "Don't get yourself killed." And she has a chance
this means
to
she's going to be getting herself killed all over the place.
She has a chance to
this.
calm down, right? She successfully runs away from Danny instead of facing him at the end of Arc 6, right? I have been thinking a lot about this chapter and what I wanted to say about it, and I feel like we have heard Taylor say that the day she got her powers was the second worst day of her life. I was thinking a lot about how she has seen what grief did to her family after they lost her mom.
And I really feel like in a story where like her power is fueled by trauma, this like other trauma is so controlling in like how she responds to the travails that she is facing. And so it is so understandable to me that she wants to resist accepting loss. And it's also kind of something that makes you love her, right? Like, as much as I was like, because I think the first time through I was like, yeah, of course, don't kill him, the same way that you had that reaction. And like this time I'm
but
like,
now you know that he has
I'm like a little bit more
terrible fate because she didn't kill him.
Well, I'm like a little bit, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Well, I'm like a little bit more, you know, trying to think about it as if it were a real thing happening and not like as a story. And I so admire the like, just keep doing stuff. And it's like, it's just awful to see her fully fail in this chapter.
Oh,
right?
Fully, huh?
She can't.
She's going to fully fail.
No, but she can't.
No, you're right. She does fully fail. Whether or not
she
they
can't
get
rescue
rescued,
Grue.
she
They get all,
failed.
right, like just, you know, you never once speculated Taylor pulls off a quick thinking scheme, right? Like, so in that sense.
No, I really don't expect that. She's
in
completely
that sense,
powerless.
I think exactly,
Yes.
and this is like her worst fear is coming true, and so it'll be interesting. You know, I've just been thinking a lot about her resistance to having to feel that, and how the plot has really forced her into a corner by the end of this chapter.
What if it's not really Taylor inside her costume? It's a swarm of 700 hornets wearing her costume. She is completely distant, using a camera to be present. And so she's going to go in and rescue everyone else. Wait, I don't know why the dust would have gotten to her.
I promised everyone on Discord that I would tell you it was true if you guessed correctly this twist. It's the most controversial twist in the whole forum, but you got it. Spoilers, everyone. Taylor's just bugs right now.
No, if she were just bugs, then the dust wouldn't have affected her.
Yeah. But I also feel like this sort of inability to grieve and move past it also kind of squares for me a little bit how she's been feeling with the Coil situation. A little bit of like, she wants to be better, right? She wants to choose hope, but like she can't be. Like she's kind of stuck. She just doesn't have a path to beating Coil right now. And she can't cope with that. And like the way that she's doing it is like, I'm going to do this 1,000,000-to-1 odds bet where like I create Skitterland and then Coil loves me and then I have, you know, like she's really doing everything she can not to just sit with like, maybe this won't, maybe I can't.
Well, right. Well, what's the point then? How can you pro-tag if you're just sitting there being like, maybe I can't do it?
Well, I know, but it's, you know, it's interesting that she's dealing with this as an emotional conflict and not just as a like.
That's true.
It's so much more interesting than a stubborn like. Not to diminish the value of choosing hope, but like I'm much more interested in the Taylor we have than in the Taylor who says to Lisa, but as long as he breathes, there's still a chance. And Lisa being like, you're right, Taylor. You're always right. You know, and then like the plot does whatever, right? Like, you know, that's not what I see here.
There's a little bit of inability to face reality.
Yeah. You're right that the emotional conflict that Wildbow has given Taylor is a great like narrative engine, right? It absolutely is. But the fact that it's so grounded in who this girl is and not purely based on
we
the
need
hero's
to do
journey
stuff.
tropes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
you know,
no, that's a great point.
It's well architected. Anyway, thanks for letting me talk about what I was thinking about with Taylor. I was kind of thinking like Trickster Plan versus Skitter Plan. Skitter does like tightly scripted comedy and Trickster is an improv guy, right?
Yeah.
She's like,
his set is all over the place.
I will not accept chaos. And he's like, yeah, I guess it is going to be chaotic. Oh, well.
And look who's worked.
It's also funny.
More or less.
Taylor's kind of delusional if she thinks that like this level of violence can be tightly controlled. But I sort of feel like maybe Taylor needs stuff to be tightly controlled because of her like fears around going carry.
They did a really good job
everything.
the first time.
Yeah. No, it was a very effective Skitter Plan. And honestly, the Trickster Plan didn't work out so hot.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But, you know,
it's not just because she doesn't want to go carry, it's because she knows it's going to work better this way.
Yeah. I was also thinking, like,
she's like, oh, I'm so worried, right? Because Grue is in danger, I think that is really affecting how she thinks. But contrast when she's on the boat going to the villain summit, and she's like, I don't have anything to do right now, and I can just be free and kind of enjoy it. And here she is going to this plan, and she's like, I have to think over the plan a million times. I will never stop thinking.
I mean, I do think a big part of it is that she just doesn't know and trust Trickster enough.
Yeah. But, she's the one going to demand that Miss Militia trust her. You know?
Yeah. Take your own medicine, Taylor.
I did like from Trickster the sort of... Taylor's like, I'm sorry, I know Grue isn't your teammate. And he's like, well, we're all in this together, right?
Yeah.
Which...
Thanks,
like,
Trickster. Yeah.
Right. Maybe, yeah. Or maybe he's just kind of, it's easy for him to say. I don't know.
I don't think it's easy for him to be butchered by
But
Bonesaw. Yeah.
He certainly has no problem saying that we put ourselves first, right? Like, he's very, very open with like, yeah, we want to save Grue, but it's about us first. And that is very much like how the Travelers operate. Like, they're very tight-knit. They prioritize themselves above all else.
I mean, I don't know that he meant the Travelers above all else there.
No, but I'm saying, here he's saying, we look out for ourselves, but that is consistent with how the Travelers seem to operate.
Fair.
I also wonder, would this have gone better if Taylor had been better rested? Like Brian wanted her to?
Potentially. Yeah.
You can't really control how well you sleep.
Really a problem. No, you can't. That's true. It's all an insomnia problem.
I was also like, Taylor's like, when Mannequin was killing those people in my territory, if I take a moment to myself, it made me feel like I was insulting their memories. That I was failing the next batch of people who would become victims of my enemies. Right? It's like, this Dinah complex is like messing her up so bad. It's like, because she can't save this one girl, it's like, now I literally must save everybody.
I don't know if it's just that. I think it's also kind of who she is. Like, there's a reason she felt so strongly about saving Dinah in the first place.
Maybe, but like, what she said to Miss Militia in the last chapter was like, look, I need to help somebody. Yeah. If I help other people along the way, that's great. But that's not, true. Like, she has like a pathological need to help everybody that she can help.
Yeah,
right?
That doesn't seem to have been true. Yeah.
I don't know, was that true before the Dinah thing? Was that true of Skitter in the first?
She attacked Loon because he said he was going to kill some kids.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true,
this is kind of always who she's been.
Yeah.
Specifically with innocence, as we've discussed.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good point. And she does think in this chapter, why did it always have to be kids when there are kids in Dalton?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's an interesting thread to pull on about, like, who does she see as innocent? And how much is it about, like, the innocent as an abstraction versus, like, people who are her loved ones? Like the way that Grue is.
Yeah, Grue is not.
And sort of who, and like, or like Dinah and Charlotte, who she developed in a very intense personal connection to, even though they were strangers to her. Mm-hmm. Compared to like the civilians in the buildings, which are all kind of anonymous, or the children. I was really sad about Dolltown.
Yeah.
Taylor's like, this reminds me of Skitterland, and now I'm mad all over. Like, she gets an infusion of righteous anger.
You know what we have to do? We have to get rid of these Slaughterhouse 9. That's what I vote.
Yeah. I loved seeing Flechette's extra water supplies.
Oh, that's
Taylor's
right.
like, there are water cooler things here, but no coolers to put them in. And it's so clearly the non-standard extra special water supplies. Yeah. I wasn't sure what Trickster picked up on in the conversation with the heroes that made him think of this plan. My best guess is that it's that Miss Militia says, oh, Hookwolf asked us to join them.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So that's sort of like, oh, well, let's get Hookwolf to attack.
Wait, yeah.
I do feel like it's a very risky plan. Like, I feel like if the 9 just decided to bunker down, or like if Grue had been mobile, I feel like the Unravelers plan just wouldn't have worked at all. So
I think they were banking on, like, chaotic elements mean that we can't walk into a trap in a predictable way.
Yeah.
Lots of power interactions, potentially.
I was surprised that Trickster was able to swap them inside the building and get those, like, there were like 3 adults and 2 kids, or 2 adults and 3 kids, like, swapping with them. I was like, because even if they're all the same mass, and Taylor was like, it was very jarring. But
maybe it's because he couldn't see them properly.
Right, I thought he needed line of sight, but maybe he could sort of swap the room, or like maybe Taylor called them to the window, or, it was a little unclear. I was interested that could happen. I mean, we barely talked about how awful the decoys are, the Slaughterhouse 9 decoys.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like, and these are, again, it's like, well, what do you do to somebody who's had plastic surgery to look like
Right.
Shatterbird or, Mannequin or whatever. Like, it's awful. It's so good tactically. Like, it will make you hesitate. If you know that they are decoys, then you'll hesitate at, like, the worst possible moment.
Yeah.
Or you embrace collateral killing, where you're like, it's not my fault they all look like Jack. I gotta kill Jack. And then you kill, like, 10 decoys.
Yeah, right. Jack's happy either way.
It's awful. And Taylor observes Jack cutting down people, and she thinks her bugs can hear him laughing. And then she's like, that's gotta be in my imagination.
Probably not.
But he, like, no movement was wasted. Every time he emerged from cover and swiped his knife, someone suffered for it. Like, every breath he draws causes suffering, which is, like, manifesting directly Taylor's failure, right? Like, literally every time he breathes, he is killing someone. I do want to call out Bonesaw is a fan of literal horror movies. The real baddie be hiding themselves on a floor corpse is straight out of a horror movie. Like, literally. I won't spoil which horror movie it is. But
interesting. I wonder if you'll show me that one someday.
I don't take this the wrong way, but I love Bonesaw. I love to hate her.
I want her to die so bad.
Me too.
Okay.
But, like, I love that she's like, she pops up and she's like, wait a second, you're using spider silk. You're a materials expert. Like, that's awesome.
You rascal.
Yeah. It's so funny. And then when she says, I don't censor my art because it offends people. As you rightly pointed out, that's an abomination to say. But I also like it as, like, a statement from a wild bow type. Not saying that, like, she's a self-insert in any way, but, like, speaking for an artist sensibility of, like, I want to tell a superhero story where all these fucked up things happen, and I, like, face the reality of all these fucked up things that could happen in a world with superheroes. And, like, I'll have a whole gang of, like, serial killers, and whatever. I'll have Regent exist as a character, right? And if that offends you, too bad.
You know what? Fiction is different, Bonesaw.
That's right. Yeah, if Bonesaw knew she was fictional, it would be much more justifiable what she's doing.
Right, I'm not holding this against Wildbow.
Also, no. But I'm just saying, I like it. I like it as, a statement of intent from an artist. The kind of like, well, what? You thought this was a fucked up thing that I did? Well, too bad. I wanted to do it. I also like that the like curare, blow dart, paralytic venom and the powder. It feels like the like scopolamine powder from Taylor's Dream also. Like another beat of her nightmare becoming reality.
Oh, wow. So true.
Ballistic saying he could off Grue quickly does kind of confirm that he got cherished.
That
a couple
does
chapters
check
ago,
out, yeah.
right? I thought that was fun. We also saw like Murder Rat get like Panacea was basically like, I don't think I can help her, and Mark killed Murder Rat, in that moment.
Yeah.
So like we've seen
the mercy killing,
and specifically the mercy killing of a Bonesaw creation. I found the revelation of Amp a real low blow, because I feel like she was the one where it's like, oh well, she's clearly keeping tabs on them. She can show up at any time. She and Cherish have been cooking up a secret plan. On the other hand, it sucks, right? Like it sucks. It's like, oh great, well that happened off screen. Do you have any theories about Sundancer's fidgeting?
Oh, interesting.
Drumming her fingers on her knee pad in some complicated pattern. It made me think of a pianist or a guitarist fingering the strings.
I mean, I was kind of wondering if she's like a drummer from that, but I guess
she could be a drummer.
Finger patterns wouldn't be a drummer's thing exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe she was typing in her mind.
Interesting.
Maybe she's a writer.
A speed typist. Yeah. Or she's composing her, her memoir in her head. I like that.
I don't know why you'd
that.
type for that. But
if the Travelers have two major problems, one of which is Noelle, what's the second one that Coil can help them with?
They're not the Undersiders, so we know a bitch ain't one. That's a good question. I don't even know what the Noelle problem is to start out with, but I would guess the other problem is Oliver.
Oh, I like that theory.
Maybe Oliver's power got transferred to Noelle, and there's some horrible interaction between the two.
Whoa.
That would be cool.
Whoa. We have heard, like, Zigzag was a cape with two names, and there was someone in the birdcage in a similar situation.
Interesting.
So that is it. There's some precedent
there's something there.
I did appreciate for such a horrifying chapter, we get the firebug attack, silk wrap strike from Taylor, where she immediately shuts it down. She's like, no,
wrong genre. No,
I can't.
I'm just tired.
You know, I get why they're using Shadowbird. When Tattletale's like, how's she handling? Like, Shadowbird's like a car. I was like, come on, Lisa. Come on.
She deserves being dehumanized.
If anyone deserves it, she does. I still don't. This squicks me out a little bit, but you gotta use the Shadowbirds you're dealt. I gotta admit, there is another chapter after this one.
Do you want to hear? The end of the book?
Do you want to hear? Yeah. It just.
There's only one more chapter after this one?
It's a really long one. It's a really long chapter. No, there's more.
Oh, okay, okay.
Do you want to hear how it starts?
Yes.
Sing it with me. With the shoulder bone connected.
To the arm bone, to the collarbone. Which direction does it go? Must go to the arm bone. Wow. That's dreadful. So she's like setting them up for surgery. Something's got interrupted. That's my prediction.
We'll find out.
Next time.
On Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildvote. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.